Welcome to Tap Yin with Sacred Spirit. My name is Amy, the Christ-centered goddess. Tap Yin is a time of the week where we tap through the difficult or challenging emotions that we experienced this week and tap into Sacred Spirit's invitation for the weekend into the following week. Okay. And so it is a process of releasing as well as surrendering, right? Releasing what, just releasing tension, right? And acknowledging the challenging moments in the week with much grace and self compassion. And then surrendering to the invitation of Holy Spirit to soften, to rest, to try again, right? To compost the things that were overwhelming or intense for us this week. Take those lessons and use them as fertilizer to resource our weekend and our week. Okay. And so for our practice today, we'll be using a chair. Okay, so you can use your chair, you can use your bed. If you would prefer a mat practice, honor that as well. And also an invitation to light a candle and have your prayer beads, your mala beads, a gemstone, sacred sound, sacred scent, or just aromatherapy. Okay. Have with you in your space what will help you to ground and be present and be centered to Holy Spirit's unconditional loving kindness and presence as we tap through our emotions, as we tap through what was intense for us this week. Also, for our movement practice, very gentle movement practice today using the chair. You may feel free to have some additional blankets, especially if it's a little chilly or cold where you are, and maybe some blocks. We'll see. Gather the props that you would like to have in your practice today for our final resting pose, which will be whatever pose is your favorite or whatever setup is your favorite pose to rest in. And yes, please have some water nearby to drink. This is a detoxifying process, and we want to stay hydrated while we are doing this work. Also, is there anything else? And I think that's it. Okay, so to frame our tapping session, this is the last week of autumn. We're actually only including today, Friday, 2 more days until the beginning of the new season, winter. Okay. And winter solstice is my favorite holiday. It's my favorite season. But before that, earlier we were talking about composting. Tapping through is a composting process. Autumn is a time of harvest as well as a time of winding down for deep rest, right? The fields are resting, nature is resting, especially if you're in the Northeast. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, a little bit different. You're in spring heading into summer. Um, I'll be mostly speaking in the Northern Hemisphere context since that's where I dwell. And this week represents just the final releasing of activity, um, or rather, I should say, the activity shifts, right? The activity shifts from harvesting to preparing the ground for the next season, allowing the ground, allowing yourself to rest in preparation for the next season or the next growing season, right? So it's setting up for rest. It's kind of like autumn is like your bedtime routine, right? Where you're still active, but you know you are winding down. You are doing activities that is to signal your body and your mind that we are winding down for the night. That is autumn. Winter is night where we are resting, right? So we're preparing ourselves for rest. And the purpose of that rest is to repair, to rejuvenate for the rebirth at dawn in the morning. And in our context in the North, for spring, right? So this is a time of release, right? We're releasing the energy of the day in autumn, this last week of autumn, where and what autumn is all about as well, right? Releasing, celebrating the harvest, celebrating the day, accounting for the day, and letting it go so that we can have a peaceful, deep rest. Okay? This week is also, there are many holidays around this time of year. And this week in particular, I would say the theme of this week is joyful dedication or a rededicating to joy. So in this week, it's the third week of Advent. It also started the Hanukkah season as well. And these two celebrations, these two observances of a miracle of light and darkness, the miracle of joyful anticipation of light coming and light returning. Okay. In this week, that is also today specifically, is the dark moon, where Holy Spirit invites us to release the past moon cycle, to release the past month, and deeply rest, deeply compost the happenings of the past month. The dark moon is also a sacred pause, a very pregnant pause. It is the period of one cycle and the pause leading into the new cycle. And this week is also the last week of autumn is very profound. And that these holidays are landing in this week is also very profound. So in this moment, what is Sacred Spirit whispering to your spirit in invitation in light of these realities? Sunday, right? We're still in the weekend. Saturday is the new moon. Sunday is the winter solstice, Yule. Yule begins on Sunday, and Yule is the celebration of the rebirthing of the sun, the return of the light. Okay? And all of these celebrations happening at this time is reason for hope, right? So as we're tapping through the challenges that we've experienced over the past week, over the past month, perhaps, okay, because this is also a seasonal tapping through, a releasing of a season. You know what that means for your particular situation and life at this time. Celebrate that. Celebrate that. Life is this tension of celebration and also the angst and grief and sadness of letting go. And sometimes it's a joyful release. It's like, oh, yeah, yay, thank God that's over. So whatever the letting go or the release is for you, be present. Be present to your breath, be present to your body, be present to all that may be arising as we tap through in this session today. And so, to begin our tapping through things that we're letting go, that we're releasing in these final days of autumn, recall an intense emotion, situation that you would like to tap through, what is presenting itself. Rate it from 1 to 10, 1 being not so much, not really bothering me, but I'd really like to just get it to a 0. And 10 being just the mere whisper of a thought of this situation or this emotion just kind of sends me into a spiral again. Okay. So 10 being the most intense, 1 being the least. And once I also want to note that sometimes whatever it might be could be from interpersonal relationships, or it could be your relationship with yourself. Okay. So, whatever that intense emotion was, what is its intensity from a scale of 1 to 10? And then we begin tapping on the side of the hand, any hand, it doesn't matter. As I reflect on this emotion, name the emotion, I radically love and accept myself. As I recall my experience of this emotion, sadness, grief, this rage, this bitterness, this resentment, whatever the emotion is, name it, this disappointment, I radically love and accept myself. As I choose to face this emotion, I radically love and accept myself. Two peace fingers, bring the fingers together, tapping from inside, corner of your eyebrows out to the temples, right? So tapping along the upper brow line, third eye, tapping out to the temples. This emotion, this sadness, this disappointment, I see it. I radically love myself. Tapping underneath the eyes, starting from the bridge of the nose out to the cheekbones. This emotion, this emotion. I acknowledge it. I don't look away. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping underneath the nose, above the upper lip. Talk through the circumstances of whatever emotion was arising for you. This grief, it's holidays. I really am feeling the loss of a loved one. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping underneath the lower lip, above the chin. This restlessness, this anger, and really feeling the darkness of this time of year. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping on thymus or underneath the collarbones. Can either use one hand or both hands along the collarbones, right? Underneath the collarbones. This emotion, this emotion. And continue to speak about the circumstances of the emotion. I didn't appreciate the tone of voice. I don't want to be a numb and cold person. I don't want to be a judgmental person. I radically love and accept myself. I radically love and accept myself. And tapping on the side body, right, around the ribs, either in courageous posture, right, not being afraid to take up space, to own your emotion, right? It is human to feel emotions, okay? To feel the anger you did, to feel the sadness you did, to feel the resentment you did, okay? Or with much compassion. And to switch up between both is fine because both are needed, right? The courage to face oneself and the self compassion to give yourself the grace. As I tap through this grief, this sadness, this numbness, this intense negativity towards myself, towards others, I radically love and accept myself. And then tapping on the top of the head. You can use one hand or both. These thoughts, these emotions, these thoughts that led to this emotion. I examine them. I examine them with great compassion and humility and curiosity and non judgment. I radically love and accept myself. And now checking in with the intensity of that emotion on a scale of 1 to 10. Celebrate any amount of decrease in intensity. And we can tap through again. If you would like to decrease that number some more, you can tap through again, tapping on the side of the hand. Continue speaking about the emotion, the situation with Sacred Spirit, with yourself. I radically love and accept myself. I radically love and accept myself. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping from third eye, the pituitary gland, out to your temples, to the sides of the eyebrows, side of the eyes. I radically love and accept myself. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping underneath the eyes, on the bone underneath their eyes. Okay, from the bridge of the nose out to the cheekbones. So tapping underneath the nose, top of the lip. I release this emotion, compost it. I move through this emotion to process it. Tapping underneath the lower lip, the space between the chin and the lower lip. This overwhelm, this paranoia, this anxiety. I move through it with grace. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping on thymus, underneath the collarbones, this fear of being seen, this fear of failing, this fear of succeeding, whatever it is that's you're tapping through or that has presented itself. I radically love and accept myself. Tapping underneath arms, on the side of the ribs, courageously standing in your truth, right? I admit, I tone in that email, tone as I was speaking with myself or to myself was not the best. I could have been kinder. I radically love and accept myself. I am a work in progress. I am ever learning and ever growing. I radically love and accept myself. And tapping top of the head. I choose release. I choose to release the tension of this emotion, of this moment, of that moment in time. I release the angst of this month, the angst of this week, and I return to myself in the truth that I am unconditionally loved and release. And at this time, it's an invitation to gaze at your candle, to touch or pick up or gaze upon your gemstone or your beads, maybe to, if you're not using a diffuser or incense, if you're using oils, to be present to the aroma, to center, to return to this present moment. Yes, as you check in with the intensity number again, ground yourself in this moment. Also, if you have sound, whether it's a chime or whatever your sound maker is or your sound, you can go ahead and interact with that as well. And just tuning into your senses, your five senses, what you see with the flame, what you see, the color of the gemstone, or the texture, the feel of the stone or of your beads. Really bring yourself back to this moment of presence with yourself and with Sacred Spirit as you release. Okay? So the last time we introduced a practice from Mimi Kodima, and before we tap into Sacred Spirit's invitation for this weekend and the upcoming week, I want to just completely release. So with a cupped hand, we're releasing first from the left. Okay. You can brush through however many times your field needs, right? Your energetic body needs. And when you're complete on the left, go to the right. And we're brushing from the shoulder through the inside of the hand, of the arm, out over the palm, the upturned palm of the hand. Releasing, releasing. Imagine that you're just kind of like washing yourself, right? And then with the cupped hands, from the throat down to the pelvic floor. Every human being has a pelvic. Okay. So releasing, and just as you're doing that, releasing down to the pelvic floor, releasing down into the earth, the support of the ground beneath you, releasing down to the ground of your being, which is unconditional love, releasing down to your foundation, which is also unconditional love, and your values, whatever your values are, be it of truth, be it of community, whatever your values are, allowing this past season, this past month, this past week, the lessons to move through and compost, down to composting that fertile ground of your being. And when you feel complete, we're going to breathe in 3 breaths of that unconditional loving kindness and compassion that surrounds us and that is sustaining us with each breath. 3 breaths of grace. So here we go. As we inhale, we're gathering up. Deep inhale. As we exhale, fingertips are facing each other. Exhale, pressing down. Pressing down to the pelvic floor, to our inner furnace. Breathing in that love, that grace, that radical acceptance, self-acceptance. You are loved. You are beloved. I am my beloved. My beloved is mine. And now we tap into Sacred Spirit's invitation for the weekend, which are so many, and the week ahead. Okay, so next week, well, first, of course, this weekend, new moon, and the phase of the new moon, Sacred Spirit invites us to celebrate new beginnings, re-beginnings. Re-beginnings is not even a term, but like restarts, refresh, right? And essence of newness, of even if you're continuing an intention from the past month, from the past season, because you're at a different point in time, having composted lessons that you have been learning along the way, even it's even if it's the same intention, there is a rededication, right? A renewal of effort, a renewal of openness to what lessons will I learn, will I experience as I live through this intention that at this new moon time, right? And so with the new moon on Saturday and a new season beginning on Sunday with Yule and winter solstice, there's just so much to celebrate, so much to lean into. Okay. And then this week, the following week, is an Advent, the week of love. It's the week of Christmas. Okay. Kwanzaa also begins, another holiday of light, of celebrating light and unity and community, right? And so taking all of that, all of those celebrations and observances into the week of intention, okay? Because as we go into the new moon, into the waxing moon, it's all about setting intentions for the new season, for the new month, for the new week, right? Um, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, well, for me anyway, that yeah, that we're being invited into. Um, and so this rededicating to joy, this joyful dedication of shining our light, what does that, what is Sacred Spirit inviting you into there? Like, what does that look like for you? We are all in, whether we feel like it or not, whether we feel like we are or not, we are each shining our light. Even if we feel that it is flickering, we are still shining. There are people in our lives who see us and are blessed by us, are inspired, are encouraged by us. Even if you may feel that your smile is weary, you are still smiling, and someone is blessed by that. The smile that you may feel is weak, the touch that you may feel is not enough or lacking, is a touch of life, is a touch of hope, is a touch of a breath for someone, even for yourself, right? The fact that you continue to be present, take the smallest of steps in your self-care. These are the little lights, right? At 5 minutes or 1 minute of breath, of intentional breath that you created space for yourself. We get to celebrate that. And so as we are tapping into these invitations of newness, of rebirth, of refresh, celebrate. So here we are tapping on side of the hand. I celebrate, I tap into celebration and celebrating the release of a season, the release of a month, the release of this week. I tap into the invitation to notice a newness around me, to know that I'm not the same person I was a month ago. I'm not the same person I was a week ago. I have grown, and I celebrate that. Two peace fingers across the eyebrows. I envision and see the points of life, the points of light and life around me. And I'm with just deep gratitude and joy. Tapping underneath, eyes out to the cheek, along the cheekbones. I see and celebrate all the invitations of light around me. Tapping on the upper lip, I tap into, I tap into words of life towards myself, towards others, tapping underneath the lip, space between the lower lip and the chin. I tap into words of love towards myself, words of love towards others. Tapping on thymus. I tap into open-heartedness. I tap into new ways of being kind to myself as well as to others. I tap into the invitation of of community that sees me, that honors me. Tap into courage. I tap into passion, self-compassion, compassion for myself, compassion for others. And tap on top of the head. I tap into joy. I tap into dedication to joy, dedication to love. And release. Okay. You can tap through again. I choose joy. I choose love. Self well, to love others well, to be present to myself. Fingers across the eyes, the eyebrows, rather. Please don't tap on your eyes. Okay. Yeah. I have the mind of Christ. I tap into the vision of Holy Spirit to love and to shine brightly. Tapping underneath the eyes. Yeah, I tap into my agency. I tap into being present with myself and with others. Tapping the top of the lip, underneath the nose, above the top of the lip, the space between the nose and the top of the lip. and tapping underneath. And really, as we're tapping, we're cultivating the joy, the love that we desire to tap into. Yeah, chipping away at the hardness and the walls that are blocking, right? Yeah, I choose to tap into open heartedness. I tap into patience. I tap into play and playfulness. I tap into hope. I tap into hope during this, dark season, this cold season. I tap into the hope. I tap into rest. I tap into peace, peace of mind, peace of heart, and tapping on the side of the body, whether courage, yeah, I courageously entertain or I courageously step back. Yeah, tap into the invitation to do less this season, this new season, right? This weekend. I tap into warmth towards myself, towards others. I tap into joy and presence. I tap into empathy for myself, for others, and tapping top of the head. I tap into surrender to divine love. I tap into surrender to radical self acceptance. I tap into surrendering to joy, opportunities of joy, opportunities to intentional love, intentional kindness. I tap into my truest essence and release. And now we move into our gentle movement section. So you may have a seat. If your chair is not a cushioned or padded chair, then feel free to add a blanket. Be gentle with yourself through these movements. As we're seated, we're keeping um, the tailbone free. So be sure that you're not sitting on your tailbone. Allow the tailbone to be free. Another way to do that is you can draw your thigh bones back on the chair. We'll begin with our feet. So feeling gentle, rocking back and forth from heel to the balls of your feet. Gently stretching the soles of your feet. Our feet do so much for us. And let this movement, as you tune into your breath, your natural breathing in and out, allow the movement to fall in line with your breath. And to your heels and pause for about 2 breaths. Placing your foot flat on the ground. And then coming up onto the balls of your feet and the toes. No need to overstretch, just keep it really gentle. Another 2 to 3 breaths here. And gently release your feet back to the ground. Okay, starting with the right leg, the right foot, right ankle, slowly in circles in one direction. And pause and slowly in the opposite direction. And onto the other side, slowly in one direction. And pause in the opposite. Now rotating the ankle in the opposite direction. And pause. And as we're seated on our chair, gonna lift the legs out into seated staff pose. The toes are coming up towards the ceiling, towards your face. Lengthen from hip to heel. Your feet can be together. You can hold on to the front or sides of your chair for additional support for your spine. Seeing a tension in the arms, right? So it's a gentle hold. And very gently, slowly release your feet down to the ground. To take our feet about as wide as the chair, if not wider. Coming into seated goddess pose. or seated or supported squat. Your hands can be on the inside of the knee and upper leg, just gently supporting or holding this hip opener and squat. Honor what's best in your body right now. Your hands could also be facing down on top of the knees, top of your knees. Also very gently pressing against them to open in the hips. Releasing the hands from the, the knees or on the inside of the leg. We're going to place the right hand, the right forearm on top of the right leg. We're going to reach the left arm up and then over. You can also use the forearm to gently encourage the right hip to open as you're reaching the left arm overhead to lengthen through the left side body. Okay. Both feet are rooting down into the ground. Should start there first. Okay. Your gaze can either be forward if that's comfortable for your neck, or you can turn your head towards the open palm and looking at your palm or your knee, whichever is most comfortable for your neck. Because while keeping or down to the ground in front of you. Okay? So whether your head is up or slightly inclined down, find what's best for your neck. Next inhale, slowly come back up. Release the left arm down, forearm on the left upper leg. Right arm comes down. Inhale, right arm up, overhead. And exhale over, bring down through your feet. Inhale, slowly come back up. Release the hands down. One more time in goddess pose. We're going to take the arms up to cactus and do, I like to call it like there's squatting cactus because cacti have all that they need within for their thriving as well as roaring goddess, right? Um, so we're going to do a few lion's breath with this. Lion's breath is where we inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, sticking the tongue out all the way while we curl the fingers. Okay, and the eyes open wide and look up. Okay, so here we go. So exhale out all the air. Your next natural inhale. Inhale, lengthen the fingers, spread the fingers root down through your feet. Exhale. As we enter this week as children, as daughters of God, of Goddess, Sacred Spirit, we enter as bold as lions, as lionesses, right? Okay, and heel toe our feet towards one another. And give ourselves a hug. The modified eagle's arms, eagle's pose, and also just this hug of compassion, this hug of radical just acceptance and the best receiver of grace and loving kindness. Breathing some expansion through the column. Our heart is expansive to be the best receiver. Your next inhale, open the arms out, open to grace and loving kindness. And bring it back into a hug with the arms crossed the other way. Okay. We soar into the new season, into the new week on the upwinds of Sacred Spirit, of Holy Spirit. Time opening out to grace, being the best receiver, stretching across the arms and chest and back. Expansive stretch through heart center, to gather Raise the heart center. Inclining the head towards the hands. Gratitude towards your heart. With gratitude, there's an invitation at this time to set up for your final resting posture, your pose of integration. And if you're seated, um, and you can continue to sit or place a pillow underneath your feet, blanket, introducing some weight over your legs, also for warmth. There's also the invitation to lie down, and we'll stay here for about the next 5 minutes to integrate our practice. Hand posture or hand prayer or mudra I'd like to introduce is placing the right hand into the palm of the left and the two thumbs touching. If you're lying down, arms out to the side, choose the arm posture that speaks most to you at this time. Face to relax, the jaw to relax, eyes to relax into this head. Release any tension in your forehead and jaw, and any other area of the body. You bring awareness to your breath, moving in your body, to the supports to your body, the chair or surface you are resting on, your feet on the floor, your legs on the ground. Slowly begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Gentle roll of your wrists. Gently opening, closing the hands. Your next inhale, reaching the arms up overhead, alongside the body if you're resting on the ground. Extended mountain. Exhaling the arms down halfway. Open to grace, being the best receiver of grace to step into the new season, the new week, the new moon cycle. Very soon, a new month, a new year. Bring palms to touch, a heart center, gather that grace in, inclining the head towards the heart. Maybe pressing the hands upon the heart to seal it in. We enter into the weekend of rest, of renewal, of new beginnings, of the invitation to love, the invitation of light, of returning light, of hope. Namaste, which means divine light and love in me, sees and honors the divine light in you. A blessed weekend, a blessed week, a blessed Yule and Christmas.